Yeah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi washabihi ajmain, amma ba'd. The honorable person, Manager Dr. Karuddin, Sarjana Ilmu Pemerintahan, Magister Humaniora, and all of my beloved friends. First of all, let us thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and all praise to Him, the Lord of the world, the creator of everything in the universe, who has given us mercy and blessing until we can attend in this meeting today. Secondly, peace be upon to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who has brought us from the darkness to the lightness, from the stupidity to the cleverness, and from the Jahiliyyah era to the Islamic era. On this occasion, we, as a group of 9, will have a discussion about each of our answer about the language of pedagogy. Ladies and gentlemen, now I will read one by one the agenda today. The first session is opening, the second session is introduction, the third session is presentation about our answer time, the fourth session is opinion, questions and answer session, and the last session is closing. The first session is opening. Now, let's open our meeting by saying Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The second session is introduction. Before we show our presentation, let me introduce our team. I am SUCI MAHARANI as moderator, SUCI INDAH as the first answer reader, HIKMAH WAHDANIA as the second answer reader, and Hidayanti as the last answer reader. Ladies and gentlemen, the third session is presentation our answer type. I will read the first question. The first question is, what types of knowledge do you need in order to be able to speak English? Please explain your answer. Okay? I will repeat again. What types of knowledge do you need in order to be able to speak English? Please explain your answer. Okay? Okay. To the SUCI INDAH as the reader of the first answer, time's yours.
Thanks to operator for giving me the opportunity to explain my answer. What types of knowledge do you need in order to be able to speak English? My answer: 1. Vocabulary is a collection of words or pieces that are usually arranged in sequence and translate. 2. Grammar. Grammar is sentence structure. By using the correct structure, a sentence will be perfect. This structure is used in all languages, not just English, maybe for Indonesian. You are more familiar with the form atau subject, predicate, object, description. 3. Pronunciation. Pronunciation is a way of pronouncing or pronouncing vocabulary in English. Pronunciation is directly related to speaking. 4. Coherency. Coherency of the word coherence in the big Indonesian directory is coherency. The arrangement of the description or view so that its parts are related to one another. 5. Fluency is a direct human relationship with a learner's arranged ability, speech of speech, and or human ability to generate many ideas and ideas. Thank you.
Well, that's the answer from Nur Suci Indasari. Does anyone want to ask or fit? Okay, I will repeat again. Does anyone want to ask? Okay, if no one asks, I will move to second answer reader. The second answer reader is Nur HIKMAH WAHDANIA. Time's yours.
Okay, thanks for the time to me. My answer for number 1, what type of knowledge do you need in order to be able to speak English is, for me, type of knowledge that we need in order to be able to speak English, besides vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar, fluency, coherency, we also have to know English culture, because if we don't know their culture, of course we will use our culture when we talk to them, while they may not necessarily be able to accept our culture.
Well, that is the answer from Nur HIKMAH WAHDANIA. Does anyone want to ask or refute? Okay, Nur HIKMAH WAHDANIA, I want to ask you about what do you think in English culture? I repeat again. What do you think in English culture?
Wait.
Oh.
Okay, for Suci Maharani, my answer is, what I mean by English culture here is culture or habits, how they communicate with new people. And we all know that every region has a different voice, different tempo, and maybe their culture in speaking is very different from ours. I just take an example in other areas like mine that has a culture of talking to the degree that other people may think that we are angry with them, that we hate them, when in fact we don't. It's just our habit to talk like that. So we have to know a little about their culture in speaking, so that we avoid misunderstanding. That's clear?
Okay, Nur HIKMAH WAHDANIA. Thanks for your answer. Okay, now I will move to the third answer reader. Okay, who's anyone want to ask? Okay, to Nur Suci Indasari, time's yours.
Okay, thank you. Explain what is vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, coherence, and fluency.
Vocabulary is a collection of words or phrases that are usually arranged in sequence and translate defined. B. Grammar. Grammar is a sentence structure by using the correct structure. A sentence will be perfect. C. Pronouns. Pronunciation is way of pronouncing a vocabulary in English. And D. Coherency is the arrangement of description of views so that its parts are related to one another. And fluency is a direct human relationship with always will dance, average, ability speech or speed of speech and human ability to generate many ideas. It's clear?
Okay. SUCI dari.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you too. Okay, now we move to the third answer reader, namely Hidayanti. Time's yours.
Thanks for the opportunity to me. Other efforts can be made to improve our English skills quickly, namely, the first, listening. Listening is very important. Is learning any language. By listening, we can something and increase our correctly when speaking. Speaking, most people find out it difficult to start a conversation in English because they are not used to it. Therefore, it is important to often practice English in everyday life. Reading is an activity that can support our language learning process to be faster because it makes our minds to interpreting a sentence. The last, writing. By writing, we will more quickly memorize vocabulary that we have read before. Thank you.
Well, that is the answer from Hidayanti. Does anyone want to ask or refute?
Me.
Okay, to HIKMAH WAHDANIA, time's yours.
For Nur Hidayanti, why do you think making eye contact with the audience can reduce anxiety while speaking?
My answer is because by making eye contact with the audience can reduce anxiety. Besides that, it can reduce of sense appreciation to the audience. Thank you.
Okay, Nur HIKMAH, how are you?
Yes, clear.
Okay, thank you. Now I will read my answer for number 1. The question is, what types of knowledge do you need in order to be able to speak English? Okay, my answer is, if I myself need a deep knowledge of vocabulary memorization, grammar, pronunciation, the ability to decipher sentence, the craftsmanship of speech as well. I think we are definitely in agreement on this, but I think we also need to get a knowledge of how we can make others understand about what we are saying. Okay, thank you. Well, that is my answer. Does anyone want to ask or refute? Please. Okay. Hikmah.
Okay, my question is, why would a speaking skill be necessary?
Okay, your question is, why would a speaking skill be necessary?
Yeah.
Okay, I will answer your questions. My answer is, I personally think is necessary. I'm sorry. I will repeat again. I personally think that is necessary for us to know for ourselves where our expertise life speaking, and also know what we do conclude fluently saying words or no. How no Hikmah do you can understand what I say?
I understand.
Okay, thank you, Hikmah. Okay, because no one has asked, then I assume the answer to question 1 has been thoroughly discussed. Now we move to question 2. The question 2 is, what is effective communication and how does it occur in social interaction? Please explain your answer. Okay, to the Nur SUCI Dasari as the reader of the first answer. Time's yours.
Okay, thank you. My answer. Effective communication is a message transformation process where the speaker tries to make the intended understand message in accordance with the predator goals and vice versa. The listener tries to understand the meaning of the message conveyed by the speaker. The speaker is the most effective party responsible for the communication. Okay.
Okay, well, that is the answer from Nur SUCI Indasari for number 2. Does anyone want to ask?
Me?
Okay, to Nur Hidayanti, time's yours.
My question is, give an example of effective communication. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My answer. For example, if the communication says don't make a noise, then the communication understand that the sentence is interpreted as an action, not to be not noise of silence when the communication responds to the statement with silence. The communication becomes effective because don't makes first what the communicator want is fake the some meaning as a communication understanding.
Okay, Nur Hidayanti, are you understand what SUCI Indah said just now?
Yes.
Okay. If no one asks, I will move to the second answer reader. Okay. The second answer reader is Nur Hikmah Wahdania. Time is yours.
Okay, thanks for the times. My answer for number 2 is effective communication is the exchange of information, ideas, feelings that result in a changed attitude so that a good relationship is established. between the sender message and the recipients of the message, and achievement of the sender's goals, and it will be occur in social interaction if there is reciprocity, communicator in understandable language, and polite in speaking, and speak at the right time and focus on listening. That's all of me for number 2.
Okay, thank you, Nur Hikmah. I will give you questions about what is effective communication only used for those of us who understand other language, or can it be used on those who have a different language with us? Okay, thank you. Just that my questions.
Okay, let me answer. Yes. Why do I say yes? Because effective communication is communication in which the message can be understood by the recipients. So, effective communications is only established if we understand the language of the other person. Well, this is where the use of language of unity is. So, we don't need to master many language to talk to people who are different. But for example, in Indonesia, we can use Indonesian to talk to people from other regions. And for people from abroad, we can use English as the language of unions.
Okay, thank you so much, Nur Hikmah Wahdaniya. Okay, now then I resume the answer to questions 2 has been totally discussed. Okay, we move to the third answer reader, namely Nur Hidayanti. Time is yours.
Thanks for the opportunity to me. My answer is effective communication is a process of transforming message in the form of science and technology delivered by educator to students.
Okay, thank you, Nur Hidayanti, for that answer from Nur Hidayanti. Does anyone want to ask or shoot? Okay, no one asks. I will move to the question 3. The third question is, there are 4 approaches in language pedagogy. What are they? Please explain and give your example. Okay, I repeat again. There are 4 approaches in language pedagogy. What are they? Please explain and give example. Okay, to the Nur SUCI SARI as the reader of the first answer. Time is yours.
Excuse me, SUCI.
Okay, what happened?
Your answer for number 2.
What's happening?
What's your answer for number 2?
Number 2?
Yeah. Not yet.
It's my answer. Okay, now I will read my answer for you all. My answer number 2 is effective communication to understand that we all have different views and insight to the use with the others. State Anthony Robbins. According to me, communication is a process that transmits message from one side to the other to affect a mutual effect. Generally, communication is done by using words that both sides can understand. Communication is a process of social interaction. Anyone has the desire to speak, to express his opinion, and to gain information. That is my answer. Do you have questions? Okay, no. Now we'll move in question 3. I will read the question 3. There are 4 approaches in language pedagogy. What are they? To the Nur Suci Indah Sari as the first reader answer. Time is yours.
Okay, let me answer. The term traditional grammar reference to a prescriptive set of rules and concepts about the structure of language commonly launched in schools. Traditional English grammar, also referred to as school grammar, is largely based on Latin grammar principles, not modern linguistic research in English.
Well, that is the answer from Nur Suci Indah Sari. Does anyone want to ask or feud? Please, time is yours. Okay, Nur Suci Indah Sari, I want to ask you. I want to give you questions for your answer number 3. The question is, can you give just one example sentence of traditional grammar? I'm sorry, Nur Suci Indah. Unmute dulu. Oke, langsung berlanjut nih, tidak apa-apa.
Let me answer. Example traditional grammar. Suci goes to market at 8 a.m.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Now I will read my answer for question number 3. Okay, my answer is there are 4 approaches in language pedagogy, which is traditional grammar, structuralism, functionalism, and communicative. Okay, the first, traditional grammar. According to me, traditional grammar is grammar analysis and language description, or traditional grammar is an approach method through grammar as well vocabulary. Without them, we couldn't have become proficient in English, and we couldn't have been able to form sentence correctly in English. Example, Akila goes to school at 7 o'clock a.m. Number 2, structuralism. I think structuralism in this method is intended to establish a sentence by structural. Teaching structuralism can only be taught by native speaker. Example, Suga is the talent child in his class. Okay, the third, functionality. I think this functionalism is a language function that we should know about. English function of language is very fluently. The fourth, communicative, capable of delivering a message well, meaning that it is received by the recipient, the same transmit by messenger. Example, the above schedule shows an economic logo trains departing at 7 o'clock p.m. from the Senen Market Station. Those who checks the bike are directly in the line. Okay, now my answer. Does anyone want to ask or few times yours? Okay, if no one asks,
Please.
and your hikmah, the time's yours.
Okay, thanks for the times. My question is, briefly explain about traditional grammar.
Okay, I will answer the two questions. Briefly explain about traditional grammar. According to me, traditional grammar is grammar analysis and language description. Or traditional grammar is an approach method to grammar as well as vocabulary. Without them, we couldn't have become proficient in English, and we couldn't have been able to form sentence correctly in English. Okay, Ma, that is my answer. Can you understand?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, I will resume the answer to questions 3 has been thoroughly discussed. Okay, now we move on to question 4. The question is, what is communicative competence and what is it for? Okay, I will repeat. Yes.
Me and Nur Hidayanti, not yet. Number 3.
Okay. Now you can read your answer. Langsung dibaca saja lanjut.
Okay. So for number 3, there is 4 approaches in language pedagogy is 1. Traditional grammar. Traditional grammar is an approach to teaching and learning language and learning linguistics on the truth of the purism in literature, purism the written mode of language and the use of the Latin model. 2. Structuralism is an approach that seems to teach students about language knowledge, implies teaching at the level of grammatical unit of language. And 3. The communicative approach is a learning system that implies aspects of communications, interaction, and developing in linguistic competence as well as language skills as learning objective and recognize that it relates to communication activities in everyday life. And functionalism is a language development that focus on the relationship between language forms. That's all my answer for number 3. I'm sorry, SUCI.
Okay, well, that is the answer from Nur Hikmah Wahdania. Does anyone want to ask? Okay, if no ask, I will move to the third answer reader, namely Nur Hidayanti. Time's yours.
Thank you. My answer is number 3 is listening, conversing, reading, and compassing. Just that, and thank you.
Okay, well, that is the answer from Nur Hidayanti. Does anyone want to ask? Okay, now, because no one has asked, then I assume the answer to question that has been thoroughly discussion. So now we move to the fourth questions. The question is, what is communicative competence and what is it for? Okay, I repeat again. What is communicative competence and what is it for? To the SUCI INDAH SARI as the first reader. Time's yours.
Okay, thank you. My answer, communicative competence is a personal ability to communicate in accordance with the topic area field up to greet the other person. Communicative competence includes the knowledge that the speakers have about that underlies the correct language behavior or speech behavior and about what constitutes effective language behavior. Keyboard communicative competence knowledge.
Well, that is the answer from SUCI INDAH SARI. Does anyone want to ask or feud?
Me.
Okay, to Nurul HIKMAH WAHDANIA, time's yours.
Please explain what you mean of communicate competence is ability to communicate in according with the area.
Sari, does anyone want to ask? Okay, if no one asks, I will move to the second answer reader, namely Nur HIKMAH WAHDANIA. Time's yours.
Okay, let me answer. For me, communicate competence refers to knowledge of effective and appropriate communicator patterns and the ability to use and adapt the knowledge in various contexts.
Okay, that's the answer from Nur HIKMAH WAHDANIA. Does anyone want to ask? Okay, if no one asks, I will move to the third answer reader, namely Nur Hidayanti. Okay, Nur Hidayanti, time is yours.
Thanks for the time. My answer is communicative competence is an aspect of competence that allows us to convey and interpret message between individuals. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nur Hidayanti. I want to give you questions about your answer. What makes you think about communicative competence is important in English?
I think that communicative competence is an aspect that allows us to convey and interpret message in certain contexts are met with communicative competence depends on the cooperation of all the participants involved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Nur Hidayanti. Okay, now I will read my answer about communicative competence.
Wait, Suci.
Okay, what?
I wanna ask, but Santis answer.
Okay. To Nurul Hikmah Wahdania, time's yours.
My question is, what would an authentic script look like?
My answer is a text made by before a public official who makes a deed in the form determined by law. Just that, thank you.
Okay, Nur Hikmah Wahdania, do you can understand what Hidayanti said?
Yes, I can.
Okay, now I will read my answer about communicative competence. Communicative competence is the ability of the person to communicate. According to topic, area, to address the person, and the communicative competence emphasizes more on the function of language in actual communication from over the power of language form and code. Maybe that my answer. Does anyone want to ask me or refute my answer? Okay, if no one asks, I will move to the last question. The last question is how to learn and teach speaking skill according to CLP method. Please explain your answer. Okay, I will repeat again. How to learn and teach speaking skill according to CLP method. Please explain your answer. Okay, to the SUCI INDAH SARI is the reader of the first answer. Time's yours.
Okay, thank you. My answer, communicative language teaching, CLP, also known as the communicative approach, is an approach to language teaching that emphasizes interaction as the means and ultimate goal in learning.
Okay, thank you, Nursuci Basari. That is the answer from Nursuci Basari. Does anyone want to ask or refute? Okay, if no one asks, I will move to second answer reader, namely Nur Hikmah Wahdania. To Nur Hikmah Wahdania, time is yours.
Okay.
Okay, Hikmah, what's your answer?
Okay, my answer is learn and practice the target language through interaction with the instructor, learning about original script, which are in the target language or purpose, the other than language learning, and two, the use of language both inside and outside the classroom.
Okay, thank you, Nur Hikmah Wahdania. That is the answer from Nur Hikmah Wahdania. Does any Nur Hidayanti? Time's yours.
My answer is learn and practice the target language through instruction with the instructor, learning about original script, and through the use of the language both inside and outside the classroom.
Okay, thank you, Nur Hidayanti. Well, that is the answer from Hidayanti. Does anyone want to ask?
Me.
Okay, to Nur Suci Indasari, time is yours.
Okay, my question, what stand of CLT and explain what is CLT?
Thank you for the questions. My answer is communicative language teaching is an approach to language teaching that emphasizes interaction as the means and ultimate goal of learning. Thank you.
Okay, now I will read my answer for number 5, last number, about how to learn and teach speaking skill according. Okay, my answer is instruction is one of the elective methods of conversion, can be not from a variety of elements affecting the flow of learning materials, human, and time. Well, that is my answer. Does anyone want to ask me?
Me?
Okay, to Nur Hikmah Wahdania, time is yours.
What is the purpose of learning CLT?
What is the purpose of learning CLT?
Yeah.
The purpose of learning CLT is to strengthen the ability to communicate in the target language, like teacher, like lecturer, maybe. That's all my answer. Can you understand your hikmah?
Yes, I can. Thank you for the time.
Okay, thank you very much. Just now, the last question. Now, we will closing this meeting today. The last session is closing. Now, let's closing our meeting today by saying hamdalah together. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin. I'm SUCI MAHARANI as moderator, and thank you for the time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.